This PAX preview is brought to you by Netflix.
I'm happy to be talking with Itai Karen of Untamed Studio, which is a team of two.
It's actually a team of me right now. Yeah, it's Untamed is like my thing. I've been doing, I've been making games for a while. Yeah, but this game I've been working with a guy called Simon. Is awesome. Is my artist. That's how we do, in the indie world, just like collaborate.
And the game is Mushroom 11.
Yeah.
It is a platformer, but you have to kind of throw out just about every preconception of how you interact in a platforming space. How would you describe what you're doing with the game?
I wanted to make a platformer, but this theme kind of threw me into this weird control mechanic. I was like, okay, I'm going to make a platformers where instead of like moving your guy, you cannot move your guy. Your guy cannot move. You can actually only destroy pieces of it. All right, so I started putting this thing, and everything reacted differently to all the platform elements that we all know and love. From moving platforms and all those cliche moments of platforms. But then it's like, okay, what happens if it rotates? Things that you could, or splitting, all these elements that are completely new, and I'm actually still discovering them as I go along. It's like everything reacts differently.
I mean, the best way to describe it is, so you are the mushroom,
Yeah.
and you can remove some of the mushroom, but that adds it on to another place, and so you kind of stretch and expand throughout the world. So
Right.
you're reacting to the environment. You're really far more at the mercy of the environment as you try to fit through, but you're also more powerful than, say, a Mario or a
It's really
Rayman.
interesting because it's very powerful. You can get anywhere, but you have no force over the environment. You're like this fungal organism that has no power at all. You can only go through the cracks, you cannot open doors. So that is an interesting concept for a platformer. How do you open the door if you can't push it, right?
If you don't have hands.
If you don't have hands, if you can't, so all of a sudden you have momentum, gravity. You have like balancing yourself on things. So you use other elements of your mass, and there are a lot of physics elements, a lot of narrative elements that combine into this thing. But yeah, it's a very interesting thing because I feel like I'm still discovering it. I've been making countless challenges, and like every day I'm thinking, like my sketchbook was like I just got like 10 more. It's like awesome.
Now, level design, that really changes how you have to approach it because of the way that you're now allowing the player to traverse the environment. I mean, what were some of the early challenges when you're trying to sort of build out these levels for the mushroom to go across?
Right, so one thing I noticed is like, again, if you just put a Mario kind of level, you realize that that's actually kind of grinding. This is not what this game is about. Just moving on a straight line from A to B was borderline boring / annoying. And this is not what I wanted to do. The fun part is, interacting, like flowing down slopes or trying to figure out how do you clamp onto pieces of environment, or it's all these things that are, you shape yourself and just see what happens instead of like just grinding, moving it away. Because I do not want the players to be like, I would press the, right cursor key and hope for the best. This is not what I was going for.
Well, also, I was noticing when I was playing it, I started off very cautious.
Yeah.
And then it's like, no, you actually have to kind of go with some blind faith there and start moving quite quickly through the environment and just kind of erasing and drawing and keeping this momentum going.
Right, and it was really great, seeing you play, and I see other people play. I see that moment that it clicks, because that's when you have this Play-Doh and you feel like you're responsible for it. You're like, oh, I can destroy it. Oh my God! But then that actually is kind of counterproductive for you. And one of the things, actually, this is like more of a game design a decision that I'm getting, just like having people play the game. The first challenge that I want to make is like, you have to go through a door that closes really fast. All right, the first thing I want to do, So people will be like, okay, I need to move fast. Once they move fast, that's it. They're done. They understand the game. Yeah. Now they can go crazy. And once you did that, it was easier. It was just fun.
But then I started to see some of the challenges that you placed in the game. They're quite challenging. I mean, you really, it sounds like you're very limiting in terms of how you're moving around, but you've really found some very fascinating ways to kind of open up what the gameplay is.
Right, and I still do. It's like, until you play, it's like just the other day, I was like, I'm going to try the suspension bridge, and then I'm going to remove some of the pieces so you can fall through. Just put it there, like seriously, last week. And it was fun. It was really fun. It's like, okay, I'm going to put it in a game. Of course, I'm going to put something in the game 1 week before PAX. That's what I do. Feature creep is like my thing.
And it's a very dangerous thing, but I'll talk to you about that off camera.
I'm in India, I'm allowed to do it. I wouldn't do this otherwise, yeah.
So what is your goal with when the game might be completed and how you're going to distribute it to people?
My plan is to do mid 2014. The amount of content that I want to put I'm not going to compromise here. So if I look at the amount of content I do, I just extrapolate the number of levels and challenges and bosses and fun stuff that I'm going to put in. I think around 9 months is what I'm going to do.
Well, I'm very excited to play more of it. Thank you so much for your time and best of luck.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Let's take a moment and thank our sponsor, Netflix. Netflix lets you stream your favorite movies and shows straight to your home without having to deal with one of those pesky cable companies. As long as you have an internet connection and a Netflix-enabled device, you're good to go. You can support Red 3 games and sign up for a free trial membership by heading to netflix.com/Red3Games.